Hello and welcome to the second round of Prague International Chess Festival 2026. Prague is not playing, but the event is being held in Prague, Czech Republic. In the second round, we had again a lot of interesting games, but I'll be showing you the two decisive games that happened today. And we'll start again by looking at Hans Niemann versus Aravindh. Aravindh, by the way, is playing second back-to-back black. I mean, it's a bit crazy, but yes, he's playing back-to-back black in the first rounds against none other than Grandmaster Sutorov. And then he played Hans with black. I mean, that's not a good sign, and that's not a very good pairing. But as yesterday, go check out the analysis of yesterday's round. He plays Perk and then transpose into this fielder positions. Knight bd7, bishop c4, bishop e7, castle, castle. And I said yesterday that from this opening specifically for black, you get slightly worse position. Yes, there are a lot of ideas. Yes, black can easily equalize, but again, from my experience, I mean, this is not played on the high level, meaning that obviously white will have more chances, more space, more advantage. So it takes d4, knight d4, knight d5, bishop f1. I think the same very line was played yesterday. Maybe bishop f4 is already a slight deviation from yesterday's round. So I actually think no. Right now, yes, the position is definitely new. b6, king d7, knight b4, and c6. So, and when you set up the pawns like that, the pawn structure is awful. Like you don't really want to play like this, but okay, I mean, computer might say that's still okay for for black pieces. I mean, it's only like 0.5 advantage for white, but still a bit inconvenient and a bit unpleasant. And Hans consecutively got advantage. So knight f4, b5 takes takes. Now knight goes back and h6. So what Aravindh was supposed to play is c5. Now knight cannot take on b5. If knight wasn't going to d3, then there is bishop b5. But now I kind of see where he was coming from. Maybe he was kind of scared that this pawn might become a weakness. Like there are some e5 lines and then takes. But this is just going into some draw territory at this moment. Like there is, I think Aravindh is out of danger in this end game. That's for sure. Like bishop g6, if you want to trade even more pieces of the board, like you can go for it. So h6, okay, not a bad move. b4, queen a7, queen a1, queen b6, and e5 takes, knight e5, bishop b4, taking the pawn, knight g6, rook e1, and now queen c5. And as you might see by looking at the position, black are currently down a piece. Knight on g6 is hidden, and knight on c3 is hidden, meaning that black are going to take one piece back. So queen a1 is played, bishop b7, knight b1, knight e4 is played. And again, he's not taking a piece, and this is where Hans got an advantage. So he's supposed to play queen c2, actually not taking this beautiful knight on g6 because of c3, and he loses a piece. So knight b1 is a very strong move. Queen c2 was the only option, and you're now basically playing down a piece. So that piece sacrifices actually might not be the best. After g6 was the best option and probably the better way to continue the game. But now, yes, basically c3, and suddenly it turns out that white are currently down. Yes, white are up a piece, and here Hans was supposed to play knight e7. With the idea, it looks like knight is getting trapped, but there is beautiful queen a5 resource. And now let's say queen e7 f takes g6. And if king is7, it looks like, okay, something is going on. There's simple queen c7, king e6, queen g3. And now white pick up the knight. This knight is protected. This king is in the middle of the board. It would be a win. Hans, with a minute on the clock, plays bishop d3, which is a mistake. Now f takes g6, queen e2 check, king h7, queen e6. And Hans obviously is trying to get to g6, but now, of course, with two pawns on the queen side, it is very tough to play on. g4, knight h4, knight c2, queen e5, transpose into the endgame. But yeah, it didn't help Hans a lot. Takes, Hans took the pawn back, but now this one is just moving without problems. I mean, you kind of can think that, okay, maybe there is a chance to save, but in reality, it's just very complicated. And last touch, king f5, Because hh5 takes, I mean, you know, white can technically still fight, you know, bring the king, knight goes, I mean, still probably lost, but at least there would be some chances. But king f5 is like very technical move, because now basically if you want to take, I'll play king f4, there are 2 plus pawns. If you don't take this pawn and you play something like knight d3, there is bishop f1, and again, I guess the game can just end right here, and then h5, or you take on f4 next. Like if this, I mean, of course you take, and now 2 plus pawns, you still have this pawn on the board, so of course it's just completely lost. And we move on to an exciting game, which was played between David Antón and Jorden van Foreest, who won in the first round. David Antón started with the loss against Rebecca Kuboyev in the first round with black pieces, and now of course he was looking towards a win against Jorden, who has been in a great shape recently. He has been performing quite well in recent events, and yeah, beating Vincent of course in the first round. c4 g6, we have King's Indian defense on the board with h3. h3 has become some kind of like a big weapon against King's Indian. I see a lot of it on top level. Knight f3, knight a6, bishop d3, castle, knight d7, a3, knight c5, bishop c2, f5. I mean, all quite typical. Queen e8, knight b5. Now knight a6 goes back to protect c7 pawn. And what we see on the board is e takes f5, which is a mistake. Now g takes f5. So this is a mistake just because, I mean, suddenly queen gets a lot of squares in this diagonal. And yeah, I kind of agree that maybe black have some initiative here. Knight d5, rook d1, bishop d7, b3, and as you might see, the evil bar is keep going down. David has 24 minutes, but guess what? In less than 7 moves, the game will end. I mean, it's unbelievable. So rook c8 starts with a mistake. I'm not sure, the idea maybe was to go knight c5, but he couldn't because of knight c7. The best option is actually a4. So if you take back, I mean, f4, and you kind of start a lot of interesting things. If f4 immediately, I'm just wondering like what would have happened. f4 immediately is quite good actually as well, but a4, I mean, b4 might be one thing to consider, but now knight c4, like that's the main point of playing a4 and then taking on c4, because now if queen retakes, we can remove the only defender for the knight, and we took the bishop and we win the game. Took the knight and win the game. So we have rook c8 on the board. So the idea was definitely, I mean, to go knight c5. Otherwise, I have no idea why it was played. And now h6. And h6 is basically the main mistake of the game. So yes, he could have potentially taken. He could have gone for knight d3. He would have had a slight edge, but it's still like, well, but knight f7 was played, knight d4, now pawn on f5 is under attack, and guess what, h6? Looks like the bishop is trapped, we don't care. Takes, knight g7, this, knight d6, and it turns out that white's attack is just extremely strong. And Jorden has quite an interesting game, despite him losing this game. I mean, he had an absolutely wild game in the first round. Go check out the recap. And now he, again, I mean, he's on the losing side now, but still quite an impressive game. So rook h8, rook e1, and here black had to resign because so many threats. So basically what happens is, let's say, just imagine something like queen d4, there is simple after h5, and now this is open. Rook f8 cannot be played due to queen g6, checkmate. This queen h7, checkmate. So there's just a lot of threats, and yes, black cannot stop all of them. So yeah, 2 decisive games. As far as other game go, I'll show you the results. So basically, David Navarro, Vincent Keimer, draw. Nerbek Abdustorov versus Parham, draw. Nerbek Kuboyev, Gukesh, draw. And then, of course, you saw the other 2 games. As far as next round goes, we have David Navarro, David Antón. To David, Battle of Davids. Jorden Gukesh, Nerbek Yakuboyev, not Abdustorov versus Hans. Aravindh Parham, and Nerbek Abdustorov versus Vincent Keimer. That's kind of the main dish for tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more recaps, for more videos. And I'll see you in the recap of round number 3 tomorrow on Friday. And if you're watching this on Friday, wishing you a great weekend ahead of you. You know, for those of you who work, and you know, get some rest. For those of you who quit school, get some rest as well. I'll see you back on Friday, and then during the weekend. Bye bye.